recording this webinar, and it will be streamed live on our Facebook. If I can get it queued up. I almost said happy Friday to everybody. It feels like a Friday, but it's not actually Friday.
It does. It does.
Hey, Caleb. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing fantastic. It's good to see you too. Time is flying, isn't it?
It is. I can't believe it's already July.
I know it.
All right. We are live on Facebook now. All right, again, I want to just welcome everybody for joining us on today's webinar, whether you're watching here on Zoom or you're watching on our Facebook Live. For those of you who I have not met yet, my name is Caleb Talley. I'm the Director of Marketing Events with Startup Junkie. For those of you who may not be familiar with Startup Junkie, we are a mission-driven organization with offices here across Northwest Arkansas with partners called Conductor in Central Arkansas. We exist to empower innovators and entrepreneurs. We do that through no-cost consulting, one-on-one with entrepreneurs, small business owners, and also through events like this, which during normal times would be, a really cool in-person lunch and learn, but now it's going to be a really cool virtual event, and we're excited about that. So I'll give it just a second and see if anybody else is going to join us. While we wait, I'll introduce today's presenters who will be leading us through this webinar. It will be led by our friends at Employers Health and Safety, Steve Bell and Doug Hunt. Steve is the owner and president of Employers Health and Safety and has spent the better part of the last 2 decades helping business owners with workplace safety and environmental compliance. Doug, who is our cameraman today, he joined the Employers Health and Safety team as VP of Business Development earlier this year, bringing 35 years of experience in marketing, public relations, and more to their team. Both Steve and Doug and their entire team is committed to helping businesses navigate those very important safety issues, and we're super grateful to have them here today, sharing their expertise with our audience. So without further ado, I will turn it over to you, gentlemen.
All right. Well, I really appreciate everything that, that you all are doing in your organization. And after studying it, we feel that it would be a perfect fit for us to be involved in all aspects of what your organization's doing, and also just networking with other companies. So we've owned a company, or I've actually purchased the Employers Health and Safety in 2005. I acquired it once. I'd worked there before for about 2 years at the company that I purchased. After running it, and I was just blessed to have it. I cut my teeth in safety and ConAgra, working in the meat industry and this and that and the other, and dealing with relationships, and also a lot of government, shall we say, agencies, and a lot of red tape, pretty much. I then broke out from ConAgra and went into consulting, and I had to learn everything from marketing, how to deal with disgruntled people, how to network and make friends, and it's just exciting to be here today. So I really want to talk about you, and I want to talk about what's going on, because that's the way we work, and that really is our style. And we really love doing this in person, of course, but we have to get creative. And since we are an environmental safety and health company, the thing is that our business is always contingent on a possible catastrophe or situation. It could be work comp related, it could be a spill, it could be product liability, different area, but we're still talking a product and we're still talking litigation. And then we also look at the OSHA side of it. And really our key programs are nothing more than building our clients a relationship with their customers and also marketing their safety programs. Because a lot of companies that we go into, what happens if they want to do business with this company, then they come in and do social audits. And anybody in the world of HR, human resources, insurance, or a high-level person with a big fat checkbook that's going in to do services or wanting you to provide something, they're looking for disruption of businesses. So again, those are some key terms: disruption of business. You also look at accidents and injuries, and those are losses. You also look at damage to equipment, this and that and the other. And you're also looking at just people loss and retention. As the world's changing in the safety world, we've got every aspect researched. We're not experts because it changes every day, and we don't claim to be. But here's how our business model is: that we connect with people that do. So if we don't have the answers, then we find those answers in a timely manner in order to solve those problems or situations. So if you talk about safety, most of the times safety gets us in, gets us in the door. But also our clients that we deal with may need more than safety. They may need marketing. They may need catering for their company. They may need janitorial services, you name it. But all those people also should be vetted and also audited to ensure that they're doing what they're doing. So those are processes and policies that we put in place. A lot of people, when they think about safety companies, they think of employee training. Well, that's part of it. But employee training really should be engaging, and it should be very simple and very easy. And we set up processes that actually do that. And when I say that we set up processes, again, it's a need. They have to have it. But really, if you relate it back to any kind of business, key business, restaurant, technology, insurance, law firms, corporate groups, anything like that, it's a marketing tool that they can actually utilize to sell. Does that make sense? So I say that a lot, pretty much. Does that make sense? So if you will pull the documents up, I want to give you tools today. And again, we're not selling anything. We're going to give you tools. When I say we're not selling anything, the idea is that, yeah, we got to make a living. And we are an environmental safety and health company. Most all of our clients have been with us for almost 17 years, but we're trying to get into Northwest Arkansas. But also, we're really trying to build relationships. So our business model, as I grew up in the entrepreneur world and had tried everything and failed, I came up with several ideas, and it wasn't me. I had people around me that were actually helping me and pushing me. And the idea is that give people the tools that they need so they'll sleep better at night. And the next thing is give them tools that they will need that that they may need you for later. Because once people start working on a safety program and they're not used to that, but they're doing accounting or they're running a company, then what happens is they lose that. And then you have an accident or an injury or a situation. Going back to the worlds that we live in for decades has been manufacturing, construction, warehouses, oil fields, and all of that. But our key focus was in industrial. We're dealing with products, we're dealing with man-made chemicals, we're dealing with people, we're dealing with accidents and injuries, we're dealing with behaviors, we're dealing with selling a new safety program, we're selling engagement. And basically what happened is we had to come back with processes and tools to put in place so that way everybody could actually look at those programs. So would you please pull up the programs? I'm not trying to mumble. What I'm trying to say is I've got so many things in a short period of time to tell you. It's so exciting. But if we can pull up the documents, it'll give you an outline of what I'm talking about.
Is this what you're looking for?
That's exactly what I'm looking for, Caleb. Thank you. If you look at the core safety program samples and overview, and you're getting this is pretty much what we do and how we do it. We go into companies, we set them up, we help them sleep better at night, and we go through documented policies and procedures that we know that insurance companies are going to audit, OSHA could audit, EPA, DNR, which would be your Arkansas Department of Health and Safety. You also have, you're looking at any kind of clients that are coming in again, but mainly it goes back to your current process. And also waste. When we talk about waste, we talk about losses, but there's a lot of loss and waste of dollars, financial dollars, and actual accidents and injuries. So if you scroll that down, and you guys can take a look at that. I'm not gonna, this is just an example, and it gives you exactly, it's not a sales, this right here is not a sales pamphlet. This right here that anybody today can take actually to a person and say, hey, let's look at these things, and or let's put these in place, because if anybody does look at us, we're on top of it. We also do physical audits. When I say physical audits, scroll down a little bit, Caleb, if you will.
Sure, and I'll just throw out to everyone that you should have received this in your email with your Zoom link. If you didn't get a copy of this, shoot me an email, and I'll make sure you get a copy of all these documents.
These are basically audits, and again, if you look, if you're a person in the restaurant or the public sector, the point I was trying to make a while ago is that we've lived in industry for so long, like manufacturing, and that's where your core hazards are, your work comp, and also your core violations and citations. But now we're shifting into, as a safety company, into the general public, which means now we're looking at libraries, schools, we're looking at restaurants, we're looking at bars, nightclubs, churches, any venue that is you're going to have to complete the new rules and regulations. And when I talk about audited items, what you're seeing that we're going through the world now is you're going to have audited items in order to get insurance. It's the same thing that we've gone through. So if you look at the safety history, a rule and a regulation is made because someone has gotten hurt or could be injured. Well, with all the pandemic that we're dealing with, and we've got all of those tools for you as well, for you to utilize on your own, but this is something that we actually do. And I just wanted to show you this because from an entrepreneurial side of it, or from a person that's out there that says, well, I don't have those hazards. Well, yeah, you do, or there could be potential for someone to have a dealing with. Well, we sell chemicals, and you deal with a lot of chemicals. Do you know the people that sell chemicals? Yeah, we do. We sure do. We just audited, and their current customer or their current vendor isn't really servicing them like they should. Again, going back to networking, another thing is the audit items that you see, they have pretty much high, they're in citation levels. It's just a proposed citation. It could go up depending on your business side or whatever. But the deal is that now if you have to take that to management, or if you have to go to the bank and justify your loans, now you're being proactive instead of reactive towards safety. A marketed item. Scroll down for me, would you, Caleb, please? And you guys will have these documents. Go ahead and scroll down some more. Go on to, keep on scrolling down. All right, here we go. Right there is perfect. All right, so how we do it. And again, we are giving you tools today that we don't have to do it. You can do it. You can actually have someone do it. And the idea, again, is once they start working with this stuff, there's key items in there that are third-party projects. So basically what you're seeing here is we go into a company and we take a complete snapshot of their company, where they're at, what are they doing. If they have a current safety manager, that's great. But we're monitoring them and we're auditing them just like we would be an OSHA inspector, an insurance person, or an attorney or a litigator. So another thing is this right here is in an Excel format And you basically, at any time, given time, if somebody asks you a question about your safety program, you pop it up and you have the comments, the answers, and what you're working on. Now, in the OSHA world, OSHA really, they look at your past history, and that's check mark for your programs and this, that, and the other, and they see that you're proactive and being proactive. But really, they want to know what your plan is for moving in the future. And safety programs really are written in a 3-year span. Insurance, for anybody that knows insurance and work comp, your actual, your policy is reviewed every 3 years for your loss runs. Well, this also is a good thing for insurance companies too, because if they're coming in and you have all this documentation, then what we do with our clients is we get with the insurance companies and demand a dividend check back. It's like, if you don't have any accidents and injuries, then you get a discount. Well, we've been seeing savings of anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 in savings. Again, another marketable item. Excuse me. So right there is another example. And again, we're giving you those examples. If you want the full thing, when I say the full thing, the full program, we're only giving examples because there's a lot more to it, but we'll give it to you for free. And it ain't for sale. The idea is that once you start using it, is then you want to use this, and then there's special projects. Then that's when we start talking about negotiating prices and stuff like that. Scroll it down if you would, please. All right, here's something else. This is another thing. Out of all the court cases that I've ever been to in my career, which is 29 years, and unfortunately have gone to court, not from someone coming after me, but coming after a client or a company. It was always found, especially in the insurance world, excuse me, it was found that key managers were not involved in their programs. Key managers were not involved in the whole anything. Look at the BP spill. The president gets on TV and says, I don't know nothing, don't know anything. That's a bad deal. So what we do is also we offer programs where we come in and audit your managers, and if they're weak, then we give them tools in regards to how to better themselves, mentor them. We can do that from Zoom meetings. We can just do that from emails. We can also do it on site. That's our specialty, is actually rolling our sleeves up and getting out there and engaging with them and talking with them, because a lot of managers or people that we're dealing with they came from the floor, now they're going to the next level, and their manager or management found some kind of passion in them and said, we want to utilize it. And now they're doing great on the production line, but now maybe they're lacking in logistics, material waste, and or safety. So we built processes and some key tools that if we can teach these managers 4 or 5 main things that they need to focus in specifically at their facility, that way that anybody that walks through the door, they know all the questions to all the answers, period. And that does 2 things. One, that retains people because your people have more respect for you. Second thing is you're able to market that and you're able to get more people. And lastly is you're not having any injuries and you're saving money. I think I covered that. Scroll down for me if you would. This right here again. Okay, this guy's showing me a basic safety audit. Yes, I am. I sure am. Because safety audits most of the places. Now think about this. Landscaping, restaurant, office, woodworking shop, garage, tire shop, you name it. If you were to have a serious accident or injury, it's probably going to be something basic and that everybody knows. Another thing is when you're audited by facilities, auditors really are keying in on about 4 things. And if you don't have 4 things that you can relate back on a safety program, then chances are you weren't trained, you don't know what's going on, and or there's possible for an injury and incident. That's the safety side of it. Now let's look at the plant manager, or the president, or the CFO. If someone is not out there providing a safe environment for workers and customers, then what are they doing for the product? How are they, is it going to be good? Is the product going to have to be returned? Are we going to have issues? Are we going to have to redo it? No, they're the cheapest one. Well, they're the cheapest one, but now we got to spend 3 times because they screwed something up. So again, this is good for all business people going into business or in business to go back and reflect and look at these. And I bet you a phone call that you go out there and you find some things in your area or in the general public. Not only take this at work, but now in the general public, restaurants, wherever you go, and be trained on that. And so you can see the passion that I have behind that, because it's this is so easy. They've got all these online systems, got this and that and the other on these safety programs. But really, it comes back to people and engagement. And I really I love the computer side of it in the Zoom meetings now, because we can reach more people. But again, these are key things, and I like talking about them because it really saves a lot of money and it saves lives, period. And it's fun. All right, next one. I believe that's if you can scroll down. So obviously at the end of everything, we give someone an executive summary. So that way they have it in their, they have that in their book of all the corrective actions that they need to make. And we also list the corrective actions that they did make. And that way we're covering them as a third party. Not only are we finding the stuff, we're also outsourcing to like contractors and this and that and the other, electrical contractors, cement companies, you name it. So we're generating a buzz of work for other people that are surrounding us by just getting in the door. And it really has been very profitable, and it's been, again, fun. So scroll down, and again, it's just a sample audit, because I want to get you off of here as soon as possible. Or I don't know what our time is. That's why I was asking that. So another thing is OSHA 300 logs. When I say you need to read through that, everything that we've listed in there is everything that someone is going to ever look at your safety program, ladies and gentlemen, period. And that's yours to have. And if you need it in edible form, call us, but we'd love to work with you. Or if you know someone who does, we'd love to work with them. All right, get out of that one. And I think that's the very end of that one, isn't it, Caleb? And I wasn't trying to yell at you and say, get out of there. Are you guys having fun so far? Am I a good speaker on Zoom or what? Crickets?
Oh, great.
Huh? Give me some feedback. Am I doing all right? Thank you.
You're doing great.
Thank you. All right. So here's the deal. Here we go. As an entrepreneur and a company owner and a guy that and a family that owns an environmental safety and health company, and that's actually the name of our company is Employers Health and Safety. All right. Check us out on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, go to ehsjoplin.com. And this is what you're seeing is some old footage, but our style of how we present to people, and also just short safety clips, and you can learn from that. And, you know, there's some corny stuff on there, but it's YouTube. You got to get the clicks and the views, right? The next thing is you can go to ehsjoplin.com and scroll down and look at our supporting partners and see who the people that we're running with. One of our subcontractors, his name is Todd Seelman. Well, Todd Seelman was the actual area director of Kansas City OSHA for Region 7. And I've been working with Todd, and he's inspected my plants. He's fined me. Well, he retired from OSHA. He's still fairly young, and he's got about another 5 or 6 years in him. And basically, we've been hooked up with him, and he does all of our high-level stuff, and he also validates what we do. But the way I'm speaking to you right now is exactly how Todd speaks. We also are set up with some other entities out there that provide specifics. And again, hey, if there's anybody out there, you know of anybody, all we're doing is putting you on our webpage for free, and we're showing that we're networking with everybody. So if there's something that pops up that hey, they need safety because something's going on, but we also need this, that's what we're promoting. But we're looking at the tools for safety and providing as much information as you can, but also generating work in the Northwest Arkansas area because we love it down there. So COVID-19, going back to that. So here's the thing, when I say COVID-19, as an environmental safety and health company, we had to basically overnight reposition ourselves to, one, take care of our clients, number one. So just like everyone else, we were actually on the CDC website, listening to the news, then we turned the news off, and we went straight to our contacts. We have contacts at CDC, we have contacts at OSHA, obviously, we also have contacts at DNR, EPA, and the USDA. So we started researching and studying, but there was a little epidemic or pandemic that happened a few years back in 2008, and it was called the H1N1. You may have remembered it, but it was all global, cross seas, this and that and the other. But going back to what I was talking about on the disruption of business and getting insurance for these huge companies or just your own company, they were calling that a contagion and pandemic program. And it could cause a disruption in business. Sound familiar? Well, I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but, well, it all went away. In the auditing, excuse me, sorry, I was chewing on ice. I didn't mean, the auditing system kind of relaxed just because of there was no issue. And then bam, this one pops up, COVID-19. So we had to take that policy that was on the shelf, 2008, blow the dust off of that, and go back and look at the core values of that. So what we've given you for free is a complete book. And when I say a complete book,
Caleb, you can come back to us if you want.
Are we good? Can you see me? All right, so what we've done is, and everything in this book you have today, we're giving it to you. So basically, if you're an HR person, business owner, whatever, what restaurant owner, whatever, and you are in business and have a situation, well, they're going to be looking at your documents. And the key documents that we're giving you is the pandemic program. And that basically goes back to how you actually, how do you contact people? What are your contagions in your area other than COVID, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing on your sanitization program, this and that and the other? Well, the programs that you're seeing now are the ones, the employee screening. Now we're having tracking and tracing, contacting the CDC and also the health department, all in the book. So when your heart's pounding and you don't know what's going on, then you can go to your manual, and this is good for training supervisors, anybody, you name it, but it also helps you sleep at night, right? Well, another thing is that you take the twist on this. So say that you do have a positive case and someone comes in, or the next one, we're not talking about COVID, we're talking about the next possible contagion, and you got your audit forms, right? And now you're all set up and someone walks through the door and you pull out your manual and your book and start going through the tabs and all of the documentation in there. We've also given you sanitization schedules, your key touch areas, when you've done total fogging and this and that and the other. We've given all that to you so that way you don't have to research and find it. Now, some people want to research and find it. That's great. They want to know what's going on. They want to compare the information, but this is all from the CDC, OSHA, EPA, USDA guidelines of what we're seeing, and we're basically putting in blatant terms for people. So it's your protection. Also, now think about that. Think about your employees. Hey, this is what we got in place. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to do it. And we need to do it. And everybody needs to do it. If anybody comes in, walking in, asking you questions, this is the signs and symptoms. This is the training that we need to clean it up. And another aspect of what we've been doing, and we're linked up with several janitorial disinfecting services. And when I say we're hooked up with them, we go through Service Master Extreme Restoration. I'll give them a plug. They're out of Grove, Oklahoma. They do all of our reactive sanitization. And when I say reactive sanitization jobs, meaning that someone's at your facility, you get a call and they tested positive. Now, the process, part of the CDC guidelines, is actually to total disinfect your company. So what does that entail? Well, we're doing not a spray bottle, not going around and wiping everything off. It's actually going in and completely atomizing and sanitizing and total fogging all the departments and this and that and the other. That's when you're on TV and you're seeing the people in moon suits and this and that and the other, and Tyvek suits or respirators. Well, here's the thing. The people that we have been dealing with don't want that. They want discreet, because they don't want people going by their businesses and thinking that someone's there has COVID. Well, I don't blame them, you know. So we have those types of services, and again, we're linked up with those people. And the reason that we're linked up with them is because we train them on all of the respirators, the PPE, how to clean up the bloodborne pathogens, how to report signs and symptoms, and if they are infected, how do they get help and report it. And then we're in the background and we're basically on call 24/7 to back them up. And they're our heroes. We did sanitization. I can't tell you the name of the bank, and discreet. And we have a lot of banks, not only just one firm, but they're all on standby. But we're disinfecting last night at 7:30 till about 11. And then we're documenting it all. Proactive sanitization is a little bit different. We also offer proactive sanitization. And going back to the entrepreneurial side of it, is, hey, we're gonna sell smoke machines, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that. But in all reality, we really came up with a program and plan for everybody to follow, because we know that the training aspect, you're going to have to be, from a liability standpoint, you're going to have to train your people on bloodborne pathogens, COVID, and this and that and the other, or there's a possibility for a lawsuit. So that's how it's happening. So I want to show you something, and this is a lot of people may say this is kind of hokey. I heard this the other day, that this is hokey. Well, it's not. Go ahead, Doug. Can everybody see that? Can everybody see that? All right. Now, here's the thing. First of all, yes, that's a Halloween fog machine, ladies and gentlemen. Sure is. You can get them on Amazon.com, $29.99. If you go through us, we do them for $45, and we'll load it full of solution. I like to put a little sense in it, because when my employees come in the morning, I want them to be ready for work. It smells clean. But we also have a situation where there are people out there that, what is that smell? Well, what does it smell like? Well, it smells like bleach or Lysol or clean. Whoa, well, it smells clean. That's great. So you have to deal with those people, because those people may have, reactions to chemicals differently. You follow me? So here's the thing, and here's what we've been doing. First of all, the sanitization system, you put it in your office and you put it in the corner. At the end of the night, and listen, you can have 20 of these in your building, ladies and gentlemen, 20 of these all around. This one remote, when you hit this, will hit all 20 of them at the same time, believe it or not. I recommend putting them in break rooms, offices, conference rooms, restrooms, lobbies, restaurants. Now, when we start talking about that, everybody goes back, oh my God, well, is it food safe? Is it this and that and the other? Well, if you get online and you look at hypochlorous acid solution, it is the #1 killer of bacteria, and it is, they say, equivalent or better than bleach, but there's a second side of that. Bleach stinks and it lasts forever. When I say lasts forever, it lasts forever on the shelf. Hypochlorous acid solution will only last on the shelf for about 4 months. But the deal is that it doesn't smell. It does not smell at all. And that's in my sales pitch when I do it to people. Hey, you're a safety guy and you're smelling chemicals? Yep, sure am. MSDS, or the safety data sheet, says that there's 0 health. The guy that owns this is in Nixa, Missouri. Okay? And he was on TV and he said when COVID came out, he got on TV, and he's an older gentleman. And what they do is, this is nothing more than water and salt water heated down. If you go to Amazon.com, you can buy one that you can fill up in a regular spray bottle for $79.99. Water and salt, but on a higher level, they're making higher production. But he got on TV and he's spraying himself all down with it. So this is a proven method. Another thing, what you mix into it, this is from Walmart. This is $3.99 Halloween smoke. Yep, that's right, Halloween smoke. This is what you need to atomize it with. And really, the chemical in here is nothing more than water and glycol alcohol. Glycol alcohol is basically used in food plants and this and that and the other, and that it's food grade type of stuff. So here's the deal. This is my favorite. All right, because like that guy the other day, he's like, this is hokey. And I went, no, it's not. He goes, prove it. I said, I'll prove it. Before you disinfect, and you don't have to do this all the time, but think if you had a restaurant or a conference room or a lunchroom or a vending machine, and you're doing all this sanitization, this and that and the other. In turkey plants, we used to do this all the time for listeria and bacteria. But here's what you do, folks. Come on over here. I'm going to show you something. Now, this guy's on vacation. But what we do, swab all that. Because the mouse and everything, swab his computer. Are you getting this, Caleb?
Thumbs up.
Huh? Okay. All right. Now I want you to come over here in the light now. I'm going to start talking Arkansas. I'm actually from Louisiana, ladies and gentlemen. I love Doris's Arkansas accent. Just want to let you know, Doris. Can you see some grime on there, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. So then this goes in here. You do your fog. You wait 15, 20 minutes because it's Halloween smoke. And the idea is to get the fog that's all the way across your ceiling. That's why you want to mount it up high, because then that layer, it will kill everything. Then you take a second sample after you've done. You send this off to a certified lab. And it goes to MLab, your friends, Test America out of Cedar Falls, Iowa. They also have one in Arizona. And what we do is we get the results back. So when we go to a company and we set up their programs and we set these fogging machines up there, or we encourage them to get their own, because that's a lot of fog machines, and it's just something simple that you can have in your house and you should have in your office. But when you get those lab results back and we have proven data, we did a large company. They make scopes for rifles, big company, well known. Again, we don't usually use names on our customers for their discreetness, but good clients. And we had 670 counts, and the keyboard was where the maintenance workers all worked together. We said, hey, where do you guys touch the most? The keyboard. We're looking at parts, we're ordering stuff, this and that and the other. Yeah, let's clean that one. So we went in there, we did the swab just like we showed you. We had a 670 bacteria count. And what it does, it gives you all sorts of different bacterias. Our lab now can test for COVID-19, but really, that to me, that's a waste of money, because if you already have a positive test and you know that they've been in their area, what are you going to sample? You know, so the COVID test, what I see with the COVID test going to for surfaces is restaurants, bars, and when the health inspector, the food inspector comes in, they're going to start doing a bacteria count like I just showed you, and a COVID count like I just showed you. And that'll be standard because that'll be an audited item. Going back to the test results, and I'm saying all summer, I get excited because I can't wait to see them, because 670 bacteria counts on that keyboard. We fogged it just like we showed you here. And then we went back 20 minutes later and there was 0 counts. Now, that's just one place. So that was a seller. At least you're doing something. But I always have the negative people that are always out there. Well, it's a keyboard, man. We know it's dirty. We know this and that and the other. And the main thing is that, yeah, we know it's dirty, but at least we're proving that we're cleaning it. So it goes back to employee retention and also just sales, period. Any questions?
If you don't want to ask your questions out loud, feel free to drop them in the chat box too, and I'll read them to Steve out loud.
Another thing is I'll answer anything from scenario, where we're going, anything. And if you want to get to know us on a personal basis, again, we're not going to push you. We just want to build a relationship with you. Is that Doris?
Yes, it is.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Just to let you know, you did a wonderful presentation. Anytime you do one, your commitment to helping and your posture with everything you're presenting is great. So I wanted to let you know that.
Thank you. I thank you. And again, we'd love to just talk to you sometime. I promise we will not be pushing anything, and if there's anything that you ever need or know, that's the way we work. So thank you.
Oh, I had one quick question though. The companies that you work with, you said large, small, whatever, and I know you're trying to move into Northeast Arkansas. What is your ideal target market that you seem to get the best response out of as far as company type, size, whatever? I work with a lot of companies and I'd love to be able to promote, but I want to be able to focus more in the area that you're wanting to be focused on.
Well, it depends. It really depends on what they do, Doris.
Okay.
Does that make it? If it's a startup company that is getting ready to expand and we see the vision and they need us, and of course we have a menu, that's not, special projects. But our ideal, to ask your question, the ideal one, and most all of our clients are anywhere from 50 to 800 people. And we have the 800 ones growing to about 1,200. And again, those people, when I say those people, those companies, not only are we there we're basically 24/7 backup, and also we're doing special projects, but we do provide training or assistance in accident investigations, environmental, whatever they need us to do. And of course, we're out doing temperature checks in March, and getting people in the door. So I like smaller companies too. The reason I say smaller companies, because I really love working. I'm getting ready to turn 50, and I really like seeing younger companies growing up, and I just don't want them to do the things that I did wrong. And if they're successful, then it makes me successful. And It's not about the money. It comes back to the passion, you know. But well, if they need us, we'll talk to them. And if we can't service them, then we're going to find someone who does. And I always tell people, anything you need from us or anything, programs, policies, procedures, it's not for sale. We're going to give it to you. But we know once you start working with it, you're probably going to call us because it's a headache, and we know how to do it. So we don't want to turn any business away.
Okay, so I've got some more questions, but it's from a different aspect as far as working with you on my referral side. So I'll call you later if that's okay and visit with you.
Please do. Thank you so much. Did I talk too long? Do I waste all of our time for questions? I didn't mean to do that.
Oh,
yes.
Do we still have some time, Caleb? Okay, first of all, that was some pretty sweet Ghostbuster action with the fog coming out of the ceiling.
Hey, you know what I was going to do is I was going to turn on the flashy lights and all that. I was actually going to come out in my cowboy hard hat that's approved, but thank you. We try to make it fun. You got to make it fun, but thank you.
That's right. Yeah, I was going to say also kudos to your cameraman. So thanks for getting up and making this like actually, you know, engaging and doing demonstrations. So great job keeping up with them, cameraman. You guys are great.
He's awesome. Doug Hunt, and he's going to be our primary go-to marketing, networking. And Doug and I have worked, we haven't worked. I've watched him work for over 20 something years. And I always said, if I have a chance to get him, I'm going to get him. And I wouldn't be here today with you all if it wasn't for Doug Hunt. I really wouldn't. So Doug really has been rebranding and doing everything. And really, when it comes to even those types of things, it's not safety related. He's a go-to guy.
That's awesome.
Any questions?
We have a question in the chat box. Erhan asked, retail stores like sporting goods, electronic stores are trying to figure out ways to let customers touch their products and have them safely cleaned. Do you have any recommendations for a sanitation process for those kind of stores?
I think one of these units, and again, I'm not selling it. When I say I'm not selling it, when we talk about those retail stores, what we've been doing, here's what we scientifically studied, because you have to scientifically study, because when you go into these large factories, they have CNC machines, multi-million-dollar machines that are very sensitive to chemicals, dust or whatever. So everything in here going, you know, the hypochlorous acid sodium solution, you know, that's the way to go. Even if you get that and you spray that on everything. But when you're using a bottle and spraying stuff, you're not getting everything. When you're fogging a room like this, and it's a Halloween fogger, but this is what we were using. If you do the research on it, we've been using this. When you hear someone's fogging our house for fleas, that's what they're using. Someone is fogging. We're fogging for a smell. We got a house that's, well, that's what they're doing. They're fogging, putting those scents and also atomization. But when I say spraying, there's applications that you can actually use. Tulsa, Oklahoma the city bought their own hypochlorous sodium acid generator. Now they're spraying it in all of their police cars, ambulances, and fire trucks. So my recommendation is this: if you have a retail store, well, test it. You know, get some old products in, get some new products from someone and say, hey, look, we're going to start doing this, and we're going to market it. Because these fogs that we're doing here that are proactive, they don't leave any residual. When you're doing a reactive job, you're going to wipe everything down because there's rags everywhere. There's towels everywhere. So the sodium hypochlorous acid, there's all different ways of administering it. Just going back to the data that we're following, this has been most effective. So to go back to your question, I'm not trying to give you a wishy-washy question. My recommendation is to get back with that manufacturer and see what they're doing, or the vendor who is giving you those products. and what's their recommendations? Again, put it back on them, because if you do use something and you spray everything and all of your merchandise is gone, you're out of money. That's a problem, and you're probably not going to get insurance on that because you caused it. So, any other questions? Did I answer that one for that person?
I would say so.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And Doris asked in the comments or in the chat, she works with several cities and counties, including their law enforcement. Do you work with any in Arkansas, and could she recommend them to you?
I do not work with any of them. We have a close relationship with Joplin and also the police department and fire department on the training side of it, but we would love to explore down in there. Absolutely, and love it.
Hey, I was actually, so I used to be an HR director for a company, and there was a lot of fear and suspicion surrounding anything pertaining to OSHA, you know, or that might get them in trouble with OSHA. And that fear and suspicion actually translated over to reticence to hire or work with any sort of like consulting company, because, and I'm not saying this is an accurate or valid fear, but they were concerned that if, you know, they got a third party came and made recommendations and then they didn't do all of the recommendations, that third party would then report them to OSHA and things like that. So is that a common concern or resistance that you encounter? And if so, what would you tell that business owner?
I've been in all that every position that you just explained, and I'm not trying to brag at all.
No, that's so valuable.
You know, that's an intense situation, you know, and if you have that fear. So the deal is, when I say the deal is going back, that goes back to setting up your policies and your programs and your procedures and being confident about it. And really, the old school of OSHA is they were bad, they're going to get you, they're going to nail you, they're going to shut you down. Well, then that transitioned to, okay, we're going to work with you. And that's where your volunteer protection programs came, your SHARPS program that you've probably heard of. And then your Arkansas has their OSHA volunteer protection program as well, where they come in and they work with businesses. And so they were reducing that fear. But going back to what I'm trying to say is now we've moved into more enforcement because it's money driven. So now we've got the enforcement side of it. The law states that if you have a third-party safety consultant or anybody, the law states that it will be on the employer. The employer must show that your safety consultant is proficient. That's where they run into. So you're going back, if you look at the laws and work comp, and if you remember, do you remember the time where you were able to sue another employee if they saw you get hurt and this and that and the other? That's the way it was in Missouri. And I know Arkansas is a right to work state, but it was a big battle. That's what we're dealing with, a lot of it. So people are throwing everybody under the table, including safety consultants. So the thing is and what I want to clarify, were they worried about the safety consulting calling OSHA or the safety consulting telling the company that they had to do something, but the company didn't do it, and then them using the safety consultant against the company?
Option A.
All right. So option A, what was option A?
Like the consulting company was going to whistleblow essentially to OSHA and get.
Yeah. And you know what? In the early time of the safety world, especially the dude that was running around here, and I'm not going to use his name, he's retired, but he was a big competitor of ours. He would go in and say, yeah, I work for OSHA, but I started my own safety consulting company. And he did the mafiosa, hey, you know, I'm friends, we'll do it all on the table. You can't do that anymore because the standards are in black and white. Now we're dealing with litigation and lawyers and attorneys. And so everything had to be documented and put in its place, but still people are actually still going after consultants on real serious accidents and injuries. I personally, I've only, in my 17 years of owning the company, I've been to 3 depositions. And it's all been in support of the client because the employee did something. All of our audits and this and that and the other, when we go in, it falls under the employer. And the deal is, if the employer is not going to make the corrective actions on it, and this and that and the other, then that's on them, because that's where the law states. Now, if someone gets hurt in this and that and the other, they can come back to the consultant and say, yeah, but you have to tell the truth. Yeah, I told them they didn't do it. Well, obviously, if they're not doing that, then they got a lot of money and or something's happening. But those are great conversations. That what you're asking me is, we dissect those, and we've been through most of those situations, and we can go through the options, because there's options like we had to go through, because litigation's the biggest one that we don't, when we tell people, we don't scare people with OSHA. We say, you want OSHA in here, and that's what we do. We want OSHA in here to validate that you're doing right. Get out of here, so we can take that information to your insurance company. And or someone says, we ain't doing anything for safety. Yeah, we are. Here's the documentation. Your insurance and litigation is what everyone should be worried about, because it's high dollar stuff and you're paying people just to shut up. There's our dogs. I'm sorry, we have a lot of dogs. Anything else?
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I answer the question though? Okay.
Any more questions? Well, if there's not any more questions, Steve, I want to thank you, Employers Health and Safety, Doug, our cameraman, for this awesome presentation, this great information. Like I mentioned at the beginning, everybody should have gotten those packets, that all those documents that include your contact information, if I'm correct, right? I believe that's included in there. If not, we will share your contact information with them as well, so they can get in touch with you. But is there any last words you'd like to leave us with?
Safety first. No, yeah, that's a joke. Hey, call us if you need us. This is our basically our catchphrase is, call us if you need us. We're here for you. And even if you just want to talk, we're here for it. We can't wait to come down Northwest Arkansas, and we want to see you live. And I would like for you guys to start some kind of monthly where I can be an OSHA update or something like that, just to still be with you. And I promise I won't use any more, Ghostbusters stuff. It'll be even better.
Hey, but we like that. We appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for signing up. Thank you for participating. We'll see you at the next one.